Hello, dear audience. Namaskar. Welcome to Moksha Media's audiobook Veerashaiva, an analytical study by Moksha Hiremat. It contains 11 chapters. They are 1. An introduction, 2. Shaiva streams, 3. Veerashaivas of Pre-Sharanas movement, 4. The Sharanas movement, 5. Veerashaivism after Sharanas movement, 6. Modern period, that is 1700 to 1900, 7. The seed of controversy, 8. 64 commandments or conducts, 9. Carrying the legacy forward, 10. An introduction to Siddhanta Shikamani, 11. Siddhanta Shikamani. I hope you have already come to know the chapters, an introduction and Shaiva streams. Today, I would like to concentrate on Veerashaivas of Pre-Sharanas movement. This is the third chapter. Veerashaivas of Pre-Sharanas movement play a prominent role in setting an ideal path for the Sharanas of the 12th century movement. These Sharanas did more than what university wits done to Shakespeare and the South African situation to Mahatma Gandhi. University wits is a phrase used to name a group of late 16th century English playwrights and pamphleteers. They were educated at the Oxford and Cambridge universities. They became popular secular writers. They used blank verse and dismissed the classical models. They gave English tragedy its Magna Charta of freedom and submission to the restriction of actual life. Shakespeare put his feet into the shoes of the university wits and used blank verse at its best, as if he were the inventor of blank verse in his dramas. Shakespeare borrowed from the improvements of university wits and added their own stage knowledge. The term university wits was coined by George Saintbury, a 19th century journalist and author. The prominent members of University Wits group were Christopher Marlowe, Robert Greene, Thomas Nash from Cambridge, and John Lilly, Thomas Laws, and George Peele from Oxford universities. Thomas Kidd is also included in this group, though he was not studied at university. This loose association of London writers and dramatists, which was talented and diverse, set the stage for the theatrical renaissance of Elizabethan England. This group prepared the way for the writings of William Shakespeare, who became as famous as Kalidas of Sanskrit drama and poetry. The South African situations and Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi's reactions to it made him Mahatma Gandhi. Hindus' truth, Jains' non-violence, Christians' sufferings, and Muslims' obstinacy made Mahatma Gandhi to valiantly fight against a tricky British rule. India got its independence at last at the cost of Mahatma Gandhi's life and others also. Some people called Gandhi's truth and non-violence movement as Gandhism, but Mahatma honestly denied it. The same thing can be said of to the leaders of the 12th century AD Sharanas movement led by Veerashaivas in Karnataka, India. Devara Dasimaya is the first Veerashaiva as far as historical facts go. He was the preceptor of Suggale. She was the wife of Chalukya Samrata Jayasimha, who ruled in common era of 1040 AD. Devara Dasimaya defeated Jains in argument. Suggale is considered as the first Veerashaiva Sharane, that is, female devotee of Shiva. It is not known whether Devara Dasimaya wrote anything or not. The word Ashtavarna, that is, eightfold path, which is the part and parcel of Veerashaivism, is used in Uli Shasana, that is, Uli Edict of circa 979 AD. That means history of Veerashaivism goes back as far as Common Era 979 AD as we know till today. The first Veerashaiva poet is Kondaguli Kesharaja of 1120 AD. His prodigies, that is Rutta, Kanda and Stotras, are found. He registered the state power and stood for Shiva's devotion. The first Vachanakara is Jedara Dasimaya, that is Common Era of 1120 and 1140 AD. He was a senior contemporary of Basavanna. His wife Duggale and Basavanna were contemporaries, of course, of the same period. Dohara Kakkaya was also a senior contemporary of Basavanna, but he belonged to the later stage of Vachanas as he was influenced by Basavanna. Dohara Kakkaya and Madara Channaya were contemporaries. Both of them are the first original Vachanakaras, and Duggale is the first Vachanakarti, a female Vachana composer. The Sharana movement took a massive turn under the leadership of Basava. It was just like the waves of sea tide. Everyone knows it, but there are other facts which we do not know regarding Basava. His father was Mandigiya Madhiraja, who was a preceptor of Shivagamas. He was a pure Shaiva or a Vedic Shaiva. He naturally accepted the differences between Brahmins and non-Brahmins. Accordingly, he decided to ritualize Basava's religious ceremony, that is Deshika, or that is Diksha. But Basava revolted against it and went to Kappadi Sangama, that is Kudala Sangama, where rivers Krishna and Malaprabha confluence together. There is a temple, the name of which is Kudala Sangamanatha. It is 35 kilometers away from Bhagewadi, that is Basavana Bhagewadi now, in the district of undivided Vijayapura, Karnataka. The temple is belonged to a pure Shaiva sect, that is Shuddha Shaiva. There, they worship Sangamanatha in two forms, Sthavara Linga, that is static Linga, and Ishtalinga, that is non-static Linga. That is, Sthavara Linga worshipped and then Ishtalinga is also worshipped. The Ishtalinga put on a pile after worship. The devotees also carry Ishtalinga with them wherever they go. At the time of worship, the Ishtalinga is kept on the palm. After it, a devotee covers it in an orange colored piece of cloth and ties it on head or arm or hand around the neck. When Basava came to Kudala Sangama, the priest of Sangamanatha temple, Kappadi Sangaya, delivered the Ishtalinga to Basava. At that time, the worship of Ishtalinga was a very ritualistic one. Channabasavana introduced Veerashaivism to Basavanna when Basava came to Kalyana. Veerashaivism of that time was a very revolutionary one. It did not make any difference between the devotees of Shiva. It told of the Ishtalinga worn on the body. It simplified worshipping rituals. It gave importance to purification of heart and of mind and of devotion more than anything else. Basavanna himself told that he converted to Veerashaivism because of Channa Basavanna. In this way, Basavanna became a Veerashaiva, that is from Shuddha Shaiva to Veerashaiva. It is the way of life, manners and methods at the time of Basava. The Veerashaivism might not be that much of popular, but it had its own inner and outer strength. The concepts such as Ishtalinga, Panchachara, Astavarana, Kayaka, and Shatasthala were known to learned. Most of them were in the language of Sanskrit texts. The Paramarahasya is one of such texts. The concept that the body was the shrine was already there in Veerashaivism. The Shivachara, one of the Panchacharas, prohibited the caste and gender discrimination among Shiva devotees. The atmosphere was already pregnant with the Veerashaiva revolutionary Siddhanta. Basavanna accepted Veerashaivism with heart and mind and spirit and acted as nurse in delivering a child. He published and popularized it and wrote a preface to social economic changes of the existing system, especially the skilled, semi-skilled and unskilled people became a part and parcel of the social change. Basavanna applied the Veerashaivism to the socio-economic, cultural and spiritual arena of the society as a technocrat and brought changes in the way of life of people as Lenin did in Russia and as Mao Zedong in China as communists. Lenin and Mao are not the founders of communism, but they applied communism propounded by Karl Marx and Engels to bring the change in the society. The same can be said of Basava. Basavanna was an applied scientist of the pure science established by so many darshanikas, that is, the far-sighted philosophers and rishis and scientists in the time and tide process. Of course, the Veerashaivism accepted by Basava represented all strata of the society, irrespective of caste, gender, color, language, the power, and the purse. It developed the spirit and confidence in the minds of exploited and exploiter, wise and wiseless, inferior and superior, and etc. Basavanna reacted to these problems as a social reformer of a revolutionary thought. Basavanna made use of all the possibilities to bring the change as a social democrat. His birth in a higher caste society also helped him. He knows ins and outs, strength and weaknesses of the state power and of people. He knew very well the complexities of the existing society better than others as a leader. He had that privilege. It can also be seen even today in case of youngsters who joined and participated more and more in a democratic, socialistic and communist movement. It can be seen not only to India but elsewhere in the world. Marx and Engels, Lenin and Mao, and Mahatma Gandhi are good examples. The social change leadership of blacks and exploited is usually in the hands of a person coming from exploiter and white class and caste society. There may be some exception to this, but exceptions are always the exceptions. So subscribe it and share it and see you in the next episode. Namaskar.